Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Fred Pellegrini Jr. and John Merx. This episode is sponsored by Englewood Brewing. And now your hosts, Daniel Kime and Alan McCutcheon.
Sitting here with Fred Pellegrini. Fred, you're an awesome guy from Central Pennsylvania. You are Grammy Award winning, involved with the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. You play in a band. We're going to jump into all these different topics separately. But first of all, I wanted to thank you for coming on the show and spending your time with us here today.
Great to be with you guys this evening. I really enjoyed my involvement with the CPM, HOF, and Brandon, and everybody, and I'm just happy to help.
Gotcha. Well, hey, we're happy to have you here. Thank you for supporting our local music community and being a part of it for all these years. I named a couple things here opening up, so let's kind of dive into that. So you were 2024 Grammy Award winner. If my notes are correct, Regional Roots Music category. Can you elaborate that on that a little bit and tell us a little bit more about that?
2023. We were nominated again in 2024, but 2023 we won. I am a recording engineer.
Microphone.
I need a boom. The Grammy thing. I am the lead recording engineer for a company called Munck Music, and we do the annual New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival every year, and we record whatever bands will work with us. This year we did 160 bands in 2 weekends. A lot of huge names, a lot of regional stuff, and that's where we kind of specialize, and that's where the Grammy came from in 2023. The band was Ranky Tanky. Ranky Tanky is out of North Carolina. It's Gullah, G-U-L-L-A-H music, which is African meets Appalachia in a way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and this band is one of the few that tours nationally doing it. I have our other nominations are for Americana and for Zydeco, which is also a regional roots category. So I deal a lot in that. And then we started by working with the Allman Brothers. We were the official recording guys for the Allman Brothers band since 2008 till 2014, and I came on board in 2011, so I got to do the last couple tours with those guys as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's work.
Well, I mean, that's a big name and a legendary name to get the opportunity to work with. How did you get involved with the?
I started in New Orleans. One of my dear friends from Harrisburg went to Loyola and volunteered to work Jazz Fest and got involved with them as a volunteer and started recording, and they were shorthanded, and I got a call in the spring of 2011, hey, you want to come to New Orleans and do some recording? And I said, yeah. And after that it was, well, we have to go on the road with the Allman Brothers. Do you want to come do this? Yeah. And then we do Peach Festival, and we did Wani Festival and a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, a little bit of time on the road in the hotel rooms.
I'd say so. Wow. So, and then you worked your way up to head engineer as well.
Well, there's only, with the technological changes in recording, there's only 3 of us now. It used to be 6 of us. But computers have gotten faster. Digital recording has improved, and I average 4 CDs a day. The guys behind me are at least 3 CDs a day. I don't know if you guys have ever recorded. No one does a CD in a day. I do 4.
That's insane.
So,
wow.
I mix way faster than we call it combat mixing. Is there imperfections? Yes, there's imperfections. There's imperfections in the performance. There's bad mic cables. There's bad microphones. After a weekend at Jazz Fest with 4,000 players on 13 stages, shit breaks.
Yeah.
Stuff breaks.
Okay.
Whether it's booms, whether it's Marshall amps, whether it's SM58s, it all goes down, and that's a testing ground because we just beat it into the ground. So we have failures. I can tell you some heartbreaking. We didn't get that recording. Artists dying. A lot of the real famous artists are getting older and passing away. Famous band called the Funky Meters, a legendary funk band in the United States in history. Their final recording we lost because of a drive died in the middle of the show.
Oh my goodness!
And that was their last show. It was their final show, and we lost it. And you go,
yeah,
you know, how do you get past this? Is on the other hand, we've captured going into COVID 2019. I did Toots and the My Towels. Toots died of COVID during the pandemic. I did. There was 3 or 4 of them. I gotta just stop and think back. But we lost several artists during pandemic that I did their last shows, and it's hard.
Yeah, it's not just
when you're the archivist as well. You're not just, hey, I'm making a CD. You're capturing the time.
Yeah, that's a really capturing the time is a good way to put it. And you don't think about that from an outside perspective. You think it's all just unicorns and rainbows. I guess it's all good times, but
we're here at the festival. Let's go. But the New Orleans Festival is a real big picture of America every year. If you're not familiar, it's not just jazz by any means. This past year, Foo Fighters played, the Stones played, you name it. If I pulled it out, it's estimated 4,000 artists play a year.
Wow.
And it's all the big names traveling across America. Willie Nelson, I've been with Willie there several times. I've been Bonnie Raitt. Earth, Wind, and Fire, you name the blues legends, they've all been there.
How long does it go on for?
It's 2 weekends. It's the last weekend of April, a couple days off, then the first weekend of May.
Okay.
So 8 days total, 4 and 4, Thursday through Sunday. And it's 11 to 7 every day. It doesn't go late.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sure after working that kind of shift, you're kind of glad it ends at 7 o'clock. Go home and get some shut-eye.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 12 to 15 hours every day, 2 weeks straight.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's a challenge, but I love it. The food's awesome.
I believe.
The food is legendary, and the first year you go, you start. You anticipate the New Orleans juice, as they say, and Bourbon Street will suck you in, especially as a beginner. And after the first year or two, you learn you also need to sleep once in a while. But New Orleans doesn't come to life till 10 p.m. And they go regularly till 3 or 5 in the morning, and it's amazing music till 5 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of the bands that play Jazz Fest leave their night gig, keep drinking, and come straight on in the morning.
So now, outside of New Orleans Music Festival, you do, or Jazz Festival, you do a lot of other stuff. You're in your own band right now. You're in a Grateful Dead tribute band.
Yeah.
Crippled But Free.
Crippled But Free. We're a rather popular local Grateful Dead tribute band. Mike Banks, Aaron Daniel Gall, Jeremy Pierce, Travis Warlow, and Jimmy Aguzzi. Great guys to play with. We are in year 12. We're between 11 and 12 right now. We got to play City Island this summer. That was a lot of fun. We did New Orleans, or New Cumberland's, St. Patty's Day, when they closed down Main Street.
I was there.
We were with Martini Brothers. We were after Martini Brothers.
I saw you play. Didn't even know it was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a hoot. The stage was a little wobbly, but other than that, as were the people, but we all had a darn good time.
I heard they're going to expand it a little bit more next year.
I hope so. Thad Eisenhower did an awesome job. The people in New Cumberland really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
There was something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids, a lot of family stuff.
Yep.
Of course, some shenanigans that I heard some of the locals didn't like too much. But hey, what are you going to get? It's St. Patty's Day, and I think a good time was had by all.
Exactly, man. You got the community together. You got some live music. A little bit of stuff's going to happen, but you know what? I think the good certainly outweighed the bad with that. I mean,
boom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The good far outweighed the bad. And let's hope it grows.
Oh, yeah. I hope so, too. I love that town, and, just seeing live music thrive and flourish, that's what we're all about here.
Right.
So how long – so, okay, let's go back a little bit further. How did you get started in music? Where did your music career begin?
I've always been this skinny and kind of ugly, and I figured the guitar was the only way I was ever going to get a girl. It started when I got my first guitar at 16. I think I got to give a shout out to Shay here because, truthfully, I think it was the Sharks that I saw first at the Hershey Italian Lodge. My sister was a fan. I think I snuck in at 14 years old because I know it was before I could drive. And it was the Sharks playing, and all the girls, my sister's friends, were going crazy. And I was like, yeah, I think I could do this. And I got my first guitar at 16 for my 16th birthday. And I just sat in the corner and played it. And played it, and got accepted to Berklee College of Music when I was 18.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I must have played it a lot. And just no looking back. I started playing acoustic guitar, the James Taylor, Neil Young, the Eagles stuff, back when you could make money doing it 4 nights a week.
Mm-hmm. Is this while you were at Berklee playing 4 nights a week?
No. When I was in college, I was in college. And then after 2 semesters at Berklee, I transferred to University of Miami for audio engineering. I must have ADHD undiagnosed because the first time I saw a 48-channel mixing console with all the knobs and the faders, it was the holy grail moment. I mean, honestly, I had to touch it.
Uh-huh.
And
what do these do?
I still to this day, when I see a big console, I literally have a collection of mixing board pictures. Like some guys have porn or some guys have cars or whatever your thing may be. I have a scrapbook of mixing boards over the years and ones that I've worked on for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, hey man, everyone's got their stick,
thing. There used to be a music store down 83 on the way to York called Big Z Music on the left side. And I had gotten early 70s Gibson Firebird while I was at Berklee. And I liked my Strat more, so it was my second guitar. But I went down and I saw a PV 24x4 channel board and traded the guitar, which was probably worth 3 times as much for that mixing board, because it was like the biggest one I could find and buy at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't even have 24 microphones. So
I was going to say, what are you running through that?
Yeah, I think I ran my cassette player or 2 cassette players, and was at the at-home DJ. But yeah, no, weird obsession with the knobs and stuff. So
just so you know, these actually turn over here on the fridge. So.
Englewood has the same one in the green room.
Oh, you know what they do? I saw that. We were there. Stevie was giving us a tour one day.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they were used to seeing the Marshall. Foo Fighters have one on stage. Only they took the Marshall thing off and it says Foo Fighters.
Oh, really?
Custom made.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a video out there. I just spotted it, and it was at Hershey. I spotted it going up beside Dave at the Hershey show.
And you just saw them recently, didn't you?
The Hershey show.
Yeah.
I worked with them down in New Orleans this year. They were the second weekend, day after the Rolling Stones. And then came a couple weeks later. We were all up in Hershey again.
So what do you do at Hershey?
I'm a stagehand. I'm a union stagehand, along with 120, 150 other guys.
My goodness.
Yeah, a great crew to work with. 7-year apprenticeship, so by the time you're in the crew, excuse me, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Big concerts, a lot of stuff that can kill you.
Yeah, I believe that. A lot of big stuff hanging up high.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of safety.
Safety. You always have a hard hat on while guys are up in the air, trusses moving.
My goodness.
Yeah, a lot of stuff will kill you. Those speakers hanging up in the air, a couple tons.
Yeah.
And not like there's no electricity running around when it starts raining. Go ahead and disconnect that 30 amp, 14 kilowatt generator. Get close to it. You can feel the sparkle.
Yeah, get your rubber boots out.
Yeah. And Cirque du Soleil comes to Hershey. Cirque pulls more power than you can believe for God knows why, but they bring their own generator trucks, but you can hear the buzzing through the 30 amp cables of it just drawing juice during the show.
Oh my God.
To the point where your hair's, when you're going by, your hair starts standing up. Lady Gaga, we brought 12, 14 kilohertz generators in to run her show and had to run all the 30 amp feeder.
Wow.
The biggest one, though, is the RV show. For the parking lot for Hershey, when the RV show comes in, 58 miles of 30 amp cable get laid down.
58 miles.
58 miles of 30 amp.
That's my work commute and back.
That's telephone or high power wire that you see. 58 miles.
How long does it take to
cable.
set up something like that?
4 days to
Wow.
run it out to all the different generators. There's one generator per what they call a block,
Mm-hmm.
and 30 amps run to each individual RV that's hooked up on there. It's 3-day back on with what you get big boxes on the back of a pickup truck, 2 guys on the back, 2 guys walking along with it, and he backs, and you just pull. And you're putting it in the boxes, and you're pulling.
Wow.
And you're pulling.
It's physical
and you're
labor.
pulling, and you're pulling some more. I turned that gig down this year.
I don't.
After doing that twice and not being able to walk the next day.
Don't know if I blame you for that one. That's
That's still a good old heavy.
So, question for you: what would you say is, to someone that an untrained eye, someone that doesn't know anything about music production or music engineering or something like that? What do you think is something that would be the most surprising or baffling to them? A fact about that topic or specialty.
People have, in the world of concerts, which it's kind of my specialty. I guess I've worked in recording studios a long time, but as far as live concerts, people have no idea what goes on behind the scenes at a concert. There really needs to be a good documentary about what goes on. And I've seen some really good ones. Rush has a really good 2-part documentary out about behind the scenes and what the riggers do and what it's a factory. I mean, it's literally a factory where everybody has their part of a production line. When we go in, just as stagehands, you'll show up and our BA, business administrator, goes, "You're on stage carpentry, you're on stage electrics, you're on audio, you're on video wall, you're on lighting." We have the different categories, or electrics. And today you may be audio, tomorrow you may be lighting. But that team, you'll then very often get color-coded T-shirts, so the traveling guys go, "Hey, that's my crew.
Mm-hmm.
You do this. Don't worry about what's going on over there. Don't talk to the sound guy and tell him that your buddy used to play in Led Zeppelin or, whatever the thing may be."
There's like an etiquette to it.
You're going to Hershey factory and you're working on the wrapping machine, or you're going to the ship's parts depot and you're driving the forklift today.
Mm-hmm.
That's your gig.
Okay.
You get assigned to it. Okay, our specialty is what goes on in concerts, but there's seamstresses. There's people that do nothing but fill up the CO2 tanks for the pop guns and the confetti streamers. And then there's guys that do nothing but connect 4 rows of lights. That's that guy's entire job for the tour. It's these very mundane things, but it's very corporate.
Yes.
It's not like one cool band with a couple of hang-on buddies who get everything done, then they get on the bus and then they go do everything again.
Mm-hmm. It's a full production.
Yeah, it's chop, 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 chop.
Yeah.
In the world of recording, I think we all need to be real scared of AI. I think, and I'll say that going boldly, we've gone too far with loops, with manipulation of vocals, with pitch correction. We are losing creativity in the masses and getting real cheap enjoyment on TikTok quickie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that firmly. People can criticize me and say, "Hey, I'm old, get off my lawn." And I'll say it to myself too, but what New Orleans has taught me is that it depends on where you're from. In New Orleans, kids proudly walk around with trumpets and trombones. You don't see people walking around Harrisburg with trumpets and trombones.
No.
The Zydeco culture down south is a very real part of their heritage. Probably the way Appalachia was with bluegrass, it was at one time. However, there it's still got real hard roots. people still go out on the Friday night to the local dance hall.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing that in a big way. But what I can do with anybody, walk in off the street and make an album, I can make an album with anybody walking in off the street. You don't need a horse's ass of talent. And we're starting to see that in it coming into the live thing. Oh, I had to do 120 takes to get my guitar lead right. You're not good.
No.
You know, quite honestly, if you have to do 100, I'm sorry. It may sound rude, it may sound get off my yard, but walk on stage and play the gig with your band.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do it well, you shouldn't be there, and you definitely shouldn't be trying to sell a CD.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's an art. People practice it their entire lives. They work their butts off for it to try to get their name out there. And you have these people out there using AI to correct their voice, and they're not practicing their music at all. And then they're just trying to get
monitor so I can play along with the click track. I had a band come in, that very big band in the late 90s, early 2000s, 4 or 5 big top 10 chart hitters. In the ears, in the record, Bob's guitar lead, verse, chorus, in their in-ear monitor feed, along with the click track. Now, you guys have made millions of dollars doing these 4-minute pop songs. You are telling me you can't remember when your guitar lead is? That it's verse, verse, chorus, verse?
Uh-huh.
This is going a little too far, Bob.
Yeah.
You know, give me an acoustic guitar, and there's so many good young talent. Addie Grace is a popular one in the area.
Yep.
Addie Grace is one in the area. Noah Gibney is another really excellent musician. These guys are doing it. Don't get swept up in the bad stuff. The not merit or meritless stuff.
No, exactly. And look, not to tell you, you can't use new technology to make good music. That's not at all what we're saying.
Nope.
We're just saying it is an art, and we believe that it's sacred and should be practiced, and you should at least make an effort to be good rather than buy yourself to be good. It's like telling Da Vinci someone got famous off drawing a stick figure.
Right.
Yeah.
The satisfaction comes from your heart. I'm a golfer, and when you play a good game of golf, it's not because you beat your buddy. It's because you did you did really well yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when your band plays really well on a night, you know it, you feel it. It's a magic in the air that this click check, do it over and over again. It's just not that same sense of victory that really in your heart and in your ethos, your spirit. And your collective spirit as a band with your mates.
Yeah, it's an electric feeling you can all feel, and it's like...
Oh, and the audience.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, you can feel it. One of the things I love about being on a stage, being a stagehand and being on stage, although in a hidden spot, when you hear 30,000 people erupt, it erupts. It's volcanic. It's spiritual in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool.
Yeah. There's no recreation of that other than the raw, real thing.
It's catching the Hail Mary.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl, It
is, how everybody feels good for that one moment in time, everything, it transcends everything else around us. And it's available to us, and yet we try to use trickery to get away from it, to try to steal the same thunder, and you can't.
No, you can't. Absolutely not. Well, I think that this music scene, or not the music community as a whole, whether it be Central Pennsylvania or the entire music community across the universe, thank God for people like you that are still keeping it true and teaching it down to the younger generations, man. Because if it wasn't for people that had heart and soul into it like yourself, we would just be sold off into AI, and all of our music would be that nowadays. And we need people like you to pass the torch down, man. And keep things rocking and rolling yourself, and that's what it's all about, man.
Thank you. That's to me, that is what it's about. It's what we pass on.
Yeah.
It's what we give to the next generation, because man, it's made my life happy at a lot of times, and I want those people to have the same thing.
Of course.
You know? And that's why I love what you guys are doing. We're all on that same page, man. Get it out there. Tell people how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
Come be part of it with us.
Yeah.
Participate with us. I'll come support you, man. You know, there's so many good bands in the area. A lot of us are really struggling to keep it going. And same with we had the earlier conversation with the bar owners, and we've got to support them.
Yeah.
Go on the off night. Go on the karaoke night, because they got bands on the weekend and it costs a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
We got to support each other.
Support each other. That's the only way we're going to get by.
Yep, I agree. You got to make sure every leg of the table is supported 100%.
That's it. That's it exactly.
Well, Fred, thank you so much for your time coming on here, man. I appreciate your wisdom and your insight.
Thank you, man.
Of course.
That was a lot of fun. I appreciate it as well.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like we could talk all night. There's so much more that we could have covered, but, we'll have you back on sometime.
We'll do more.
Oh, my God, yeah. I would love that.
All right, man. Thanks.
Right, Fred, thank you so much.
Have a great night.
You too. It was awesome getting to sit down and talk to Fred. Stay tuned. We have John Merx coming up next. Sitting here with John Merx, longtime friend. John, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. They told me not to smell my hand after that. See?
We did.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on the show. This is great. My favorite part, for anybody who wants to know before he even starts to interview me, my favorite part of this is that I get to be here on the same night as one of my best friends, Fred Pellegrini. So I tried to talk Fred into sitting next to me, but he said it's too close.
I understand both sides of that. It'd be fun to have him here, but also I don't want to get too close to you either. No, I'm joking. So we have us in separate chairs here.
That's true.
John, speaking of being here, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I want to make sure we put that out there first and foremost. For anyone that doesn't know, the reason how I met Brandon was I met Brandon through John. And I would also like to give a shout out to Brett Rutter, because I met you through Brett Rutter, actually. So I've known Brett Rutter for years. Brett Rutter put me in contact with John Merx on our old show, Darker with Daniel, and we talked about your band Switchfoo and a lot of different things, and then you brought up the Hall of Fame. At that point, I didn't even really know exactly what it was. I'd seen it a couple times, and you said it was this awesome thing, and I should find out a way to get involved, and you'd talk to Brandon for me and see if he'd want to come on the show, and Brandon came on the show.
I think he was your very next guest.
He
it was like 2 or 3 weeks later. I think he was the very next show.
He was either the next one or there was like one in between. But yes, you are correct. It was very short after. And the rest is history. I think we've told the story on here several times about having Brandon on that show and then him getting this organized from there. But I would have never met Brandon if it wasn't for you. So, John, I want to say thank you for that.
I mean, if you do things for you, you're not going to get where you want to go. If you do things because you're making them better, right? Mm-hmm. Like, does it matter if you succeed? You made it better. Like, what if like music's not for you, right? Like, it doesn't mean you can't make music better. Mm-hmm. What if that's what you were meant to do? So anytime, to steal a phrase from my bass player Jay, like rising tide floats all ships. They all go up. So in a world where music at our level is struggling, local bands, local venues, like any opportunity you have to contribute more, and this, I really think this is a great way to do it. I've watched a lot of them, and you guys do such a fantastic job.
Thank you.
of bringing fantastic local talent into the lights, that they're working so hard. So it makes me happy that they're getting out here and doing this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely takes a village too. We're super grateful for our help from the Hall of Fame and Brandon and everyone. And we're grateful to have the opportunity to do what we do to help support musicians the same way. Like you said, are you really making it if you're just making it for yourself, if you're helping other people along the way? I think that is a part of making it as well. Whether you make it to where you want to be, you made something happen.
Right. And that's, like there's a reason that engineers get a Grammy too, because you can't get on stage and play a song and sound great by yourself.
Yes.
Unless you're sitting and playing acoustically with no equipment. You can't. You have to have, it takes the team. Everybody plays their part. Everybody does their job. And without the sound team, you don't sound good. I don't care how great you are. You don't sound good if the sound team doesn't do great.
Yeah.
And what those guys do at Munck Music is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some of their work, and I mean, hundreds of albums per year. So,
I mean, their portfolio alone is impressive enough. I would think they'd have to be doing something right
right?
to be doing what they're doing.
Right.
So, man, so you've been involved with the Hall of Fame for since pretty much the beginning now, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. You are on the special events committee. Exciting.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, for years, people have been telling me how special I am. And now I get to work with some of the top talent buyers in the region. Sarah Staub and Crystal Shearer and Anne Marie and at BRP. And we are trying to take some of the things that the Central PA Music Group Hall of Fame organization does and get it to be something that's like consistent and expected, right? That's one of the hardest things in local music, because people's lives, when you're just going to go catch a band, right? You kind of want to know that there's going to be an event that fits your life schedule, because everybody's busy.
Yes.
Especially adults. And no offense to anybody else, but like once your life starts to take shape the way you wanted it to, well, it's full and it's busy. So like knowing that there's like this thing you can get to, and you kind of know what it's going to be and where it's going to be, and you don't always know when, but you know it's going to happen. So like all you got to do is figure out, is it this Friday or that Friday, right? Trying to get that kind of event to be more regular and recognized, that's really our main goal. We have a lot of great events now, like the live recordings that, again, amazing Grammy-winning engineer Fred Pellegrini doing the recording for Glenn Hamilton from The River, also hosted by Brandon Valentine at Appalachian Brewing Company. And, I mean, that's a fantastic event. It gives these local artists a chance to come and live the experience that those artists at the New Orleans Heritage and Jazz Festival get to live, of having that guy mix your song, and then it's on the radio, and and because of the speed, my friends in logistics like to say speed to market, it's on the radio 4 days later.
Yeah. Quick turnaround.
Like, yes. And it sounds like it was intended. Like it wasn't just you showed up and they recorded you. It sounds like it was at that level. And that's a great experience. And we're trying to build more of that. We want more consistent engagement with our communities, and not just Harrisburg. We want Lancaster. We want York. We want Allentown. We want, Altoona. We want Williamsport, and all points in between. We want the whole of Central PA to have their say, to have their chance at the mic, to give the people that support their scenes something to go to give back to them. Like it's not, and it's for the musicians, but we also want it to be for the people who support us.
Of course. And it's great to give those people that opportunity, because it's them expressing their passion and their commitment and their dedication to something that they love and hold very dearly. It's just great that, we have this opportunity, and, a great person like you to lead that, and have great friends like Fred himself to help give these people not just a platform, but an awesome platform.
I don't know if I'm the leader. I'm the idiot. I'm the idiot. I'm the only Looney Tunes musician who's on the team. Everybody else is like a professional talent buyer. Like they have market charts and know what works where, and know everybody at every venue. And I'm like, if I knew that, I'd have more shows.
Well, I mean, speaking of more shows, I mean, you do keep yourself busy. You also you've had your band Switch Foo for quite some time now. How long has Switch Foo been around now?
It's 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah, we started practicing in July of 2015. Played our first show in December of 15. Although, to be fair, like I went through when you put it, I was talking with everybody earlier, and it's hard to put a band together. And especially if you want a band that's going to succeed and grow, right? and the people in the band are going to get what they want out of being there. So like I went through over 100 people in that first couple years. It took us, I think, 2.5 years to get to the lineup we have today.
Okay.
So it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And to keep it together. But I have to say, if my band ended today, we did what I set out to do. And a lot of people said I couldn't do it. I wanted a band where everybody in the band owned the name. They all owned what we do. Everybody gets paid the same. We all do the same amount of work. Everybody gets the same level of enjoyment out of performing and being in the activity. And I'm not the only band to do that. Cripple But Free is a fantastic example of that as well. But it's not as common as you think. And I set out to do that because I had struggled with that so greatly by being in bands. And I want to thank and congratulate Eric Slaughter, Bill Wash, Jay Kierson, Mike Piaskowski, Jason Mesha, for helping me accomplish that dream. Because those are all the people who have been in Switch Foo over more than a couple weeks.
Gotcha. And well, I mean, it sounds like you've built one heck of a team there, and that's what comes with experience. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to start a band. That stuff doesn't just come easily.
No.
It takes having a little bit of skin in the game and knowing what you want and having that mindset to set out on your mission and achieve it.
Right. And then add the other layer of, and this is where everybody said, oh, well, you can make a band. But I said, I want to make a band that does mostly originals. And they're like, no. Just no. What kind of music are you going to play? Blues. One talent buyer said, no one cares about blues. That's what he said.
It's a bold statement.
He was looking at a chart. So he wasn't 100% wrong when it comes to market demographics. So I get that. People do care about the blues, and the ones who do are amazing. But when I said I want a blues-centric band who plays a little bit of everything, they just looked at me like, you're nuts. You can't do that. You need to pick a genre and play that. And you know what? We play a mostly original show today. We play punk, we play country, we play jazz, we play funk, and everything. And we play a lot of rock. But every single thong has a very thin thing holding it together, and that's the blues.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I did mean song, but
I figured, yeah. But no, I mean, and I love that. I find myself listening to, lately, my kind of go-to genre has been more indie rock, but I've kind of realized that a lot of them have a blues roots to them. And I love that. And I see what you mean, how you can play all these different genres and still have that blues root to it. And I think that's very unique and
Muddy Waters always said that blues was a vocal music. And the thing that I get confused about today is a lot of what people consider to be blues is a group of very excellent musicians. I mean, virtuosos, every single one of them, playing a 1-4-5 12-bar structure with no deviation. There's no extra music to it. And the vocals are usually good, but it's a great performance, but I don't feel the connection that I feel when I think of blues. And that's where a lot of people, I talk about this a lot with other blues musicians, and it's, blues doesn't have to be a blues structure. It doesn't have to be a blues minor. It has to be an emotional undertaking. It has to be a connection and a release of your emotion that ties you to what you live for, or have lost, and you survived anyway. And a lot of playing blues was always, from the beginning of it, it was, how do you live through this unspeakable existence that you have? And the only thing you have holding on to is music, and a vocal music, and putting your voice in the air and letting your pain out into the world.
yes.
And that doesn't require a specific format or key or shape or set of lyrics or chord changes.
Mm-hmm.
It can be jam bands. It can be country music. It can be rap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, blues music is street music. Rap, street music. There's no difference to me in that if you are putting your emotion out there.
Yes. Yeah, it's blues, souls. It's all coming from the soul, you know.
Yeah.
And I have to stop and say that has to be the most beautiful and passionate description of blues I've ever heard in my entire life.
And I am the least worthy ambassador that there ever was to say that.
I wouldn't say that, but
I am. I'm friends with. I can't tell you how fortunate I feel to have some of the friends I have in the music industry. Friends with one of my first friends in music was Patrick Duty, who was 15 years Lonnie Brooks drummer.
oh wow.
And you know, like that's my first real experience with like successful blues musicians was hanging out with the Lonnie Brooks family. I'm still today friends with Wayne and Ronnie and their sister, who I have terrible memory. You knew that.
You're on camera.
Oh my
It's
gosh. Stacy Brooks. And their uncle, like Memphis Gold. And it's all one family. And all amazing people. And I've had the good fortune of meeting Mercy Morganfield, who's Muddy Waters' daughter.
Okay.
And she is one of my favorite people in the world.
Really?
She will tell you the truth about everything. And it reminds me so much of living in Chicago. Because like on the East Coast, people get their feelings hurt. You can't say things. And I don't mean like in general, because you've been to New Jersey. You know that's not true. But like in music, it's really hard for people to tell people the truth and not to hurt them, to help them grow.
Exactly. It's the harsh truth.
One of the reasons I love Fred is because Fred is one of the people I met out here who tells me what I need to hear to get better.
Mhm. It's what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Right.
Yes.
And Buddy Guy, that was him. Lonnie Brooks, that was him. Everybody I met in Chicago, they told you the truth, but it made you better. If you listened to them and you made the conscious decision to make yourself better from listening to that, you got better.
Yes.
And not as a musician, as a person. And if you develop as a person, you write better songs, you listen to the history better. You know, like I know because I feel I'm a very unworthy ambassador for that music. I owe it to my listeners. Every show is a history lesson. You know, like we don't just sing Hound Dog. We tell you why Elvis is not Hound Dog. Chuck Berry is not Hound Dog. Sister Rosetta Tharpe is closer, but it's Big Mama Thornton. You know, you have to give people, if they're willing to listen to you, you owe it to the music to tell the story.
Yes.
Because if you're going to play somebody else's song, those are people, when they played that music and wrote that music, they never got their due.
Mm-hmm.
They had no rights in court in this country. You know, they could get sued and lose for something they wrote. You know, I hanging out with my friend Dane Paul Russell. We got to hang out with oh my gosh, I'm so bad at names right now. With Bobby Parker, who's one of the kings of bebop, and like Carlos Santana credits learning a lot of how he learned how to play guitar from Bobby.
Okay.
And Bobby had a list of 57 bands like Led Zeppelin who stole riffs from him. But he didn't have any rights.
What are you going to do?
So so he just kept a list because at least
he knew.
He knew I made all of that, but that's all he got from it. And what I can do is I can tell his story.
Yes.
And people should hear his story.
I think that's really neat how you do that. Give a little history lesson with it, and I think that makes it a little bit more of a called an intimate experience with the crowd, where they're learning with you, or not learning with you, but learning from you, and just having a full show rather than just a live performance, if that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
and you know what? I hope that when people hear me tell a story like that, and that's the song that they left liking that song, go to a record store and find a record, because there's a record for every one of those people out there. You're going to find that record.
Yeah.
Go on iTunes if that's how you're going to listen to it, and download a song from them, because they played it better than I did, and you're going to get to hear it in their voice. You get to hear their pain when they sang it. Billie Holiday. You want to hear someone with pain, listen to her. And it's beautiful.
Goodness.
It's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever hear in your ears.
Mm-hmm. It's like a religious experience.
Or the opposite.
Well, yeah, exactly. So speaking of Switch Foo, though, you guys do have a new album coming out soon,
We
right?
do. We haven't named it yet. Eric voted for, can we name the album I Like Fried Chicken? Please give me fried chicken. We're going to vote on it. Fred voted for it. He was 2 votes for name the album I Like Fried Chicken. I actually wrote a song called Foo Fried Chicken, and the band voted to change the name of the song. That to be fair, that was yesterday.
So it's still to be determined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we're working on it. We're going to change the key, too. They didn't like the key it was in, so.
Well, so what can we get?
It was a flat key. No, A flat.
A flat.
It was an A flat.
It wasn't A flat key. It was A flat key.
Yes, it's both.
Gotcha. What can your fans expect from this long album, short album?
We don't care about current. Like, I know the current rules are you do like the marketing trend says do for the kids listening, do 4 or 5 songs and do an EP.
Mm-hmm.
If you do well, print something in your fans' requirements. Like if your demographic wants a CD, make a CD. If your demographic's playing vinyl, make vinyl. If they're not using physical media, don't do that. Don't waste your money.
Yeah.
I'm all for more physical media. Play records, kids. Play CDs.
Yeah.
Don't do cassettes. But don't do that to yourself. But if your market's not there, don't spend your money. Don't put all your money into putting CDs out you can't sell. Sell the digital version and put money into making more music.
Yes.
But we have 9. Ours is gonna be 9 songs. It's 8 of my songs and 1 from Bill Walsh.
Okay.
So it's all originals, of course. If you're gonna record, we're not doing. We have. I think our current playlist is like 49 songs, and I want to say 31 originals.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
like. If we're going to go to the studio, we're not doing somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, I get that. Now that this album, it's being produced by.
Actually, it's being produced by my guitar player Bill Walsh and my bass player Jay Kierson. The capture is all being done by Jay Kierson. The mastering is going to be done by Jay Kierson. But if I bribe him with maybe a gift bag of Darth Vader stuff. And probably some money. I'm hoping that Mr. Fred Pellegrini, who was on your show a few minutes ago, is going to be our mixing engineer.
Oh, well, that would be phenomenal. Hopefully, you can talk to him soon. Get in a room with him.
He said he would do it if I don't hug him. It's true. He did. He actually did. He mixed our first album.
Oh, okay. Well,
and actually, and Jay mastered it, didn't he? Yeah. And Jay Kierson. So Fred Pellegrini won the Grammy for Best Live Roots or Blues, right? Regional Roots. Jay Kierson was nominated for a Grammy, Best Live Regional Roots, and I'm gonna get the year wrong, but I think it was 1972. He didn't win, but he was a finalist.
Wow.
That's 30 years earlier. And then Fred learned in part from Jay and won in that category.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without teaching a history lesson, can you?
No.
I love that. History is my favorite subject.
Well, and when the truth is, like I'm not 25 anymore, right? It's my turn to pass it on to the next kid.
Yep.
Alex Warner. I play blues music. Alex Warner's blues.
Yep.
It's my job now to say it's time to teach. Do what I can to give to him.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's actually in Nashville next week, performing. There's 2. I don't know a lot about the blues clubs down there. There's not a whole lot of real blues clubs in Nashville. There's a couple places that put blues on the wall, but that's not what's playing inside.
Yeah.
But
Memphis is more of the hub for that, right? Yeah.
Papa Turney's though, east of the airport, and then there's an Elks Club downtown, and Alex, his drummer, is actually Papa Turney's grandson, and I believe that's where they'll be next week.
Oh wow.
I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. So I feel really bad. I'm going to miss him. And I'm probably gonna go to the Elks Club because I'm only gonna be there for like 42 hours, so I don't have time to like go very many places.
Hey, I mean, you'll make what happen what you can,
Yeah.
So,
But Alex part, like it's almost exactly 10 years ago. This guy came into a pizza shop where I was helping host an open mic, and I was just starting to sing in front of microphones. Okay. And he said, if you want to learn how to do this, let's get in the studio and teach you to do it right. And you know what? Guess who that was? Fred Pellegrini.
the man himself.
Yeah. So it's a lot of callbacks to the same joke. But,
yeah.
but like, it's Fred paid that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to put a band together with people that paid it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And they've taught me how to be a better songwriter, how to be a better performer, how to run a band, how to run the business of the band. And now it's my turn to, teach the next kid.
Pass the torch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, music is a cultural event, right? It's not, to some people, it's a paycheck. It's a cultural thing. I don't do music because I'm getting paid. Do I have to get paid to afford to keep playing it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I do it because I have to.
Yes.
I have to write songs. I have to play music. I record songs. I go to the studio. I finish them. I pay for it out of pocket. I don't particularly care if I sell to pay myself back for it, as long as I don't get in trouble at home for what I spent on the album. but I have to do it. If you paint, you have to paint.
Yes.
Right? If you write poetry, you have to write. So for me, it's not just, I can't just make a song. I have to get the finished product done.
Mm-hmm. You have to get it out there to the world. You have to express yourself.
Right. I have a friend in Philadelphia who's amazing. His name's Adam Stair. He's actually from Mechanicsburg.
Yeah.
And like, he'll occasionally send me something and I'll record it. Or if every couple of years, I'll get a chance to stop by his house for a day and I'll just record random harmonica stuff. He's like, I want this. I'm not doing vocals. He's a far better vocalist than I am.
You're a pretty good vocalist, so he must be pretty good.
If it's STEHREO, if you look him up like by song,
Okay.
He's an amazing vocalist. I can't keep up with him, but like, if he gives me the chance to put something on a song, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
If Fred let me put something on his album that he made a few years ago, I'm showing up and I'm going to record it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who I went to high school with who's, I want to say, the chair or vice chair of their chemical or chemistry or chemical engineering department at University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
He has a bluegrass band. He sent me a song and said, put a harmonica track on here. So, of course, I went to Fred's house and recorded it.
You even mentioned you're working on some music right now with artists you can't even talk about.
Right. I believe, to quote Jay and Bill, contractual obligations. I can't tell you anything about the artists. I can't really say much about the song, but like, this is two people who are there. When I found out I was on the song, I was like, I have their albums. Like, ooh, I'm going to go and sit in my car and listen to some of my favorite bands right now. If you can, one of them, it's tough. They're not bands, but
yeah,
like the
artists.
There's some of my favorite artists. There's some of my favorite music types that like, this is like, I'm excited that I'm even included. And I can't tell you about it yet, cause I don't know when their PR plan starts that I'm allowed to, like, I can't, it's not like people going out and saying I'm in a movie, this is the name.
Yeah.
I can't do that yet.
No, exactly. If it clears before this airs, hey, let us know. We'll link it. Yeah.
Right.
So.
No, yeah. And I'll throw the one plug in for Adam. He just did a song with Grammatic, who I was trying to find their next tour dates to plug that, and I couldn't. But they're like, the first page I pulled up was Grammatic has like 500,000 followers on this page. I don't. And they just released a single. I want to say it's called Dante's Paradiso. And Adam, I'm guaranteeing Adam's the guitar player on it, and maybe the vocalist.
Oh my God.
And it's great. If
That's
you like,
huge,
if you
man.
like EDM and you like, but you like they don't just do EDM. It's EDM with real instruments.
Okay,
you
kind
know,
of like
and real singers.
kind of like Grizz. Have you ever listened to Grizz?
No.
Okay.
Is that like a bear thing?
No.
Okay.
I'll show you Grizz then.
I did go into a bar once, and there was a sign about bears, and I realized I was in the wrong bar.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the horse bar about the Bears. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
That was with Mark Santana.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I'll show you some. I'll show you Grizz later. GRIZ. Great band.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I love all kinds of music.
It's funky, jazzy, bluesy EDM.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I'll show it to you then.
I do. Unlike Eminem, I do listen to techno. Not much, but I do.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So real quick, I do know we have to wrap up here in a minute.
Yeah.
Would be remiss. I know we had mentioned this earlier. We got to talk about Bret Michaels, man.
Oh,
because
Bret
that also
Michaels.
wouldn't have happened without you. So
Oh,
I'll give you a
thank
minute.
Well, and don't tell Brett that because I don't want to upstage him.
I'm not talking. I mean, hopefully in the near future I'll get to talk to him. I don't know if that's gonna be the front thing on my mind, but
Oh, so fun! I have a funny Bret Michaels story. So I met him at the Party Gras press thing, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't mean to, because I'm like it's not my kind of music. Like it's good. It's great music. I appreciate it.
You
but,
can appreciate the talent.
Yeah, I just not. I don't know. It's never done anything for me. I grew up in the '80s, and I didn't like '80s music of any kind, really.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking like Diggable Planets, Public Enemy, that I liked.
Gotcha.
But like, I don't know. It just wasn't speaking to me. So I got in line when the thing ended, and everybody wanted to go like say hi to him. I got in line to talk to somebody who I had seen from another event. I wanted to talk to him about production. I missed, what can I do to help the next thing? And it was the Joy to the Berg we were talking about. And by the time that our conversation was like, what are you doing over here? He's like, I'm waiting to meet Bret Michaels. And I'm like, oh, I don't need to do that. And he's like, we're next. I'm like, and I'm at the front of the line. So it's at the point where I'm like, oh, this would be really rude if I just leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like,
You don't want to walk away and have Bret Michaels be like, so who's this douchebag?
yeah, who's that jerk? Wow, that blues musician's really just a real, yeah, who's he think he is? So I went and talked to him, and I had no expectations, right? Because I've met a lot of people in music, and in the 80s and 90s, they weren't all cool.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't. And I was floored at how genuinely nice, how he's a wonderful human being.
Yes.
And I feel so bad for taking time up from him meeting his fans, even if it was 30 seconds. But he's a great guy. I'm glad he did. I'm glad I did. And one of the funniest things for music that's ever happened to me in my life happened a little while after that, because I shook his hand and got a picture taken, and I walk away, and a little while later, I'm talking to everybody else upstairs, and I go downstairs, and you guys were getting your pictures taken with him, and they took the pictures and you were done taking pictures, and you're standing next to Bret Michaels and just starting to walk away from him, and you guys saw me and you were like, Merx! And you all ran over and posed for a picture with me while Bret Michaels is standing there going,
who the heck's this guy?
and I'm like, if he only knew that I'm nobody. Just some idiot that made you sweaty a couple years ago trying to give an interview.
I'm sweating right now, man.
See?
I'm always sweating, but
Oh, at least it wasn't just me.
It was a little bit you, but no. Oh my God, that was, and you know what's funny? In the moment, I didn't even think about it that way. I was just like, Merx, I haven't seen you
in Cheers, like Bret Michaels is at the bar and Norm comes in and everybody's like, Norm!
Yeah.
And the famous guy is just like, who's that? And they're like, he's the guy that won't leave a beer on the bar. And I'm like, I
Yes.
worked my butt off being a world famous musician, writing #1 hits, multi-platinum, multi-Grammy, one of the most famous people in music history, and you guys are more interested in that idiot over there.
Hey, man, you're already it. We love you. Oh, man. Well, John, thank you so much,
It
man.
was less awkward than when I met Limp Bizkit's drummer, but that's a story that's not for the camera.
All right,
That goes back to what we were talking about with cheetahs earlier.
I'm really curious about this, so we're gonna have to wrap this up so you can tell me. All right, John, thank you so much, man. Make sure we'll get any of your information linked in the description below, so that way people can check out your music and support you guys, because you definitely should.
And I don't know when this will come out, but like we're at Plowman Cider in Gettysburg tomorrow night, which is September 27th.
This won't be out tonight.
No,
tomorrow.
It won't be out tonight. That's probably good. We're at Wolf Brewing the Friday after, and we're there 10 times a year. It's a fantastic place. The week after that, we're in Philadelphia at Twisted Tail, and I think November 1st, we're at Grotto in Wormleysburg.
Wonderful.
So come hang out with us. And if you can't come see us, or blues isn't your thing, go find a different band.
Yes.
Go support somebody. Like Fred said, go to karaoke night and support the places that support live music or live art of some kind. You know, like just get out and experience that, because it's not about watching a reel on your phone. It's about being around human beings. It's about, you know, making yourself vulnerable to life and just live. We said earlier, live in that moment for a minute, because it helps you when you have to go back and sit at your desk all day, or you have to carry lumber all day, or you know, whatever the job is that you slog through all day that you wish, even if you love your job, there's always a piece of you that wishes you were somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Let this be it once in a while. Get out, be around humans, go support live music. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, guys, that does it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Huge shout out to John Merx and Fred Pellegrini for taking the time to come sit with us. As always, I'm your host, Daniel, and thanks for checking us out. Have a great night.